Module 8 continues with Part C, Scheduled Outages. Scheduled outages are covered in the Horizon Operation Documentation under Deep Dive Service Assurance Scheduled Outages. Scheduled outages suppress notifications and pause status polling, threshold checking, and data collection during a specified period of time. Reasons for scheduling an outage include updating components, performing scheduled reboots, planned decommissioning of nodes, or infrastructure testing. In defining a scheduled outage, the following must be set: the name of the outage, the nodes to include, node interfaces to include, the outage type, whether it is a single or repetitive outage, and the date and time of the outage, the what that is being suppressed, notifications, polling, thresholding, or data collection. Create a scheduled outage by selecting Admin Configuration. Slide down the page a bit to Service Monitoring and click on Configure Scheduled Outage. This will bring up a list of currently selected outages. Add a scheduled outage by entering an outage name and clicking on the plus button. The name is Tutorial. Each outage must have at least one node. Select from a drop-down list by entering part of the node label. For example, Local permits the selection of localhost node number 1. Select that node. It still is the only node in this tutorial. Click on the Add button. The node label localhost is under the current selection. Next, create an outage type. An outage can be either a one-time occurrence, specific, or a recurring event, daily, weekly, or monthly. Create a specific outage type and accept the default time of today. Add the outage. At least one interface is required to schedule an outage. Select the local host or loopback address of 127.0.0.1 and add it. The outage will be applied to polling and the tutorial package. Click on Tutorial under Status Polling. You can specify items for each service or choose Select All. Scroll down a bit and click on Save. The Scheduled Outage page now has one entry for the tutorial outage. Click on Info Nodes and observe that the outage is listed on the node page highlighted in red. Return to the console. From the /opt/OpenNMS/etc directory cat poll-outages.xml. This is how the outage is defined. Most of what was just entered via the GUI is here. The outage name, tutorial. The type, specific. The time, the interface 127.0.0.1, and the node ID 1. List the contents of /opt/OpenNMS/etc in date-time order, and note that 4 other files share the same date-time as poll-outages.xml. These files correspond to the outage application selected in the GUI. Polling is in polar-configuration.xml. The outage applies to polling, so edit the file polar-configuration.xml. The tutorial package has an added element, outage-calendar, with a value of tutorial, which is the name of the outage added and stored in poll-outages.xml. Close the file. Keep in mind that the outage is already in place and edit the tutorial monitor service script user local bin tutorial.sh. Change OK to not OK. Save and close the file. As in the previous video's example, this would normally create a downed service. To verify the exclusivity of the poll outage, stop the SSH service using system control stop sshd.service. Both the tutorial monitor and SSH services should be down. Return to the local host front page and wait a bit. The SSH service goes down, and the tutorial monitor service remains up. The tutorial scheduled outage on the tutorial polling package has worked. Return to the console and edit user local bin tutorial.sh. Change not OK to OK. Save and close the file. Return to the localhost front page and click on the admin configuration. Scroll down a bit and click on Configure Scheduled Outages. Delete the scheduled outage by clicking on the Delete on the tutorial outage line. Return to the node through Info Nodes. Tutorial Monitor is going to remain up because the file user local bin tutorial.sh was set to output OK. It only remains to restore the SSH services. Return to the console and restart the SSH service using system control start sshd.service. Return to the localhost front page and wait a bit. The SSH service is restored. This concludes the demonstration of service outages. Coming up, Module 9, the Page Sequence Monitor.